Welcome to the Shawaly Show, where we explore the latest in education, technology, entrepreneurship, and cultural diversity. Today, we have a very special guest joining us, Katie Hassselstrøm. Katie is the visionary founder of Teacherbot, an innovative AI platform designed specifically for teachers and educators. Passionate about building a community of like-minded educators, Katie and her team are at the forefront of integrating AI advancements into education. Together, they are shaping the future of teaching and lesson planning. Let's dive in. We are recording. Hi, Katie. How are you doing?
Hi, Moses. I'm great, thanks. Great to speak to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us, to tell us about your awesome platform that is called Teacherbot. And you are the founder of Teacherbot, which is a platform that helps educators create teaching resources. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. That's what I do here with Teacherbot. And yeah, I'm loving the ride, loving it.
Well, first of all, I would like to start by asking you, how are you doing today? Are you having a good time? How was your week?
Yeah, thanks. You should definitely start with that. Great so far. Wednesdays are busy for me, fully focused on the business. And yeah, it's great to catch up with people like you. And it's so important for me to make this part of my day to connect with other individuals. Because a lot of the time you're behind your screen building the product, and yeah, it's so important to connect with other humans.
Yeah, totally. And before we hit recording, you were telling me about the ecosystem of the entrepreneurship world where you live. You live in Scotland, right?
Yes,
Tell us
sunny
briefly about how
Scotland.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of new to the entrepreneur tech ecosystem in Scotland here. I've been a teacher for 10 years and recently stepped out to focus on my business. There is huge support here in Scotland, championing us as entrepreneurs. Particularly, there's an organisation called TechScaler, pretty new to Scotland actually, and it helps you in all aspects of your business. One of the most important ones is kind of a mentor advisor type thing where they match you up with someone who's similar to you, who's interested in the same thing and who's walked the path before you. And I found it extremely useful and beneficial to bounce ideas off of someone, particularly not having a co-founder. I think it's quite important to have that mentor advisor role. So it's a great ecosystem, and actually I'm still exploring it and finding out about it. There's loads out there.
Was it hard to move to go from being a teacher after 10 years of being a teacher to becoming an entrepreneur?
Absolutely was.
What was the most hard thing about it?
I think when you're a teacher, you are surrounded by amazing colleagues. You've got 30 kids in front of you every day, and there's a huge buzz about the place, if that's a good word to use for it. You're busy, you're running, you're on your feet, you have to respond to things immediately. Then I stepped out of teaching and it was a much slower pace, much less human connection, a lot more focused on building and product development. So I would say the main thing for me was a human connection, and it took me a while to adjust. But I've combated that in a variety of ways, and just found that human connection in other ways.
Exactly, like meeting with other entrepreneurs globally, online, and locally in Scotland. What inspired you to create Teacherbot? Well, first of all, as I mentioned briefly what Teacherbot was, but I would like you to give me a better definition as a founder of behind this awesome platform.
I actually started when I was on maternity leave, and I had a bit more time to reflect. It also coincided with the kind of rise of AI. And I knew that there's a huge problem with teacher retention. And I thought, how can I marry my skills with this new technology? So I created something that would be useful for me going back whenever I went back to teaching. And actually, there was so much interest in it when I shared it with my friends and my inner teacher circle, that I thought, you know what, let's see if we can make something bigger of this. So I got some friends together who were also teaching colleagues, and maybe 5 to 10 of us put our heads together and we said, how would you use this on a daily basis? And all those ideas I got from just friends, colleagues, I used to then power into the platform. And now we have users in 100 countries, teacher users in 100 countries, and I'm trying to keep it, the core of it to be how to help teachers reduce their workload, how to ensure that they have the time to connect with the children that are in front of them, and not get caught up in the admin tasks and the preparation of the resources, but actually the teaching itself and the connection. So bot helps teachers with their planning and there to build their resources.
Exactly. So what you're saying is that let us help teachers focus on what they do best, which is the human connection with their students. And then we take as Teacherbot, we take care of the technical side of it. On the tedious probably or time consuming process of planning and creating resources. Is that right?
Absolutely, because as a teacher, you can spend hours scouring the internet to find specific resources that will help the students in front of you and deliver the learning intention that is at hand. But Teacherbot streamlines that, it pulls everything together, and it gives you a really nice output that you can prepare in minutes.
Exactly. So what types of resources and even tools are available on the platform? I would like actually to take a look at the platform together, if you don't mind. But
yes,
in the conversation I think it would be very interesting for people to see how it looks like. But
sure.
in a nutshell, what types of resources do you have? You have 15,000 teachers currently using the platform, or 10,000?
Yeah,
15,000. That's a big number. What kind of resources, subjects are they using it for?
I can talk you through a few of them, but just let me know and I can do a demo for you.
Let's jump on it right away if you want.
Sure.
Share.
Okay, let me share my
share
screen
your screen
here
with me, and I will enable it. And if you need here it is.
Sure.
Awesome.
So here is Teacherbot. Let's start off with one of the more obvious ones, the lesson plan builder. So pop in what stage you're teaching. I've said primary 3, I'm from Scotland. What would we like to learn about today? So something we learn about is math. I'm learning to add 2 digits. Oh, do you know what? See, for the purpose of our conversation, I'm going to use one of the global goals. I know that's what you're interested in. You're interested in global partnerships. So exactly. Understanding the global goals. How long should your lesson last? And what language do you want it to be in? For the purpose of our conversation, we'll do English. But you can put it into any language. And of course, our users are from a variety of countries.
Any language. So how many languages do you currently have on the platform? Or
you just put in what language you want it, and it'll output in that language.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it takes a few seconds to come up with the lesson plan, and in the background I've put in all the information that I would advise from kind of teacher background. There you have it. You've got your lesson title, your learning intention, success criteria, really nicely laid out, the introduction.
I think
your assessment strategies and higher order thinking skills, questions which are so important to develop your young children's minds. So yeah, that's a lesson plan generator, and as I say, you put it into any language you can.
I have a question,
sure.
Katie. Well, first of all, that's actually was very quick, so it's really impressive how quickly it came up with a plan. Can you fine tune it once you got the plan, and maybe you want to make a change or something? Is it
sure? And I've came out of that a bit prematurely, but yeah, absolutely. You can differentiate that once it comes in.
Just
put in a primary.
What stage are you teaching?
And I think it's so important that you bring that up, because one lesson isn't going to cater to all the different needs that you have in your classroom.
Yeah.
More often than not, when I was teaching, you would have 3 different lessons within one, because there was children that required further support and children that had to be challenged. So yeah, at the end of the lesson plan, you can simply simplify it and complexify it from there. and you can download or send your PDF to your email.
Even in a PDF. And so when you send an email, when you send it as a PDF to email, you can just type in the email address that you want to send to, and it sends it away right away.
Sure, we'll have your email address from when you signed up, and it'll do that automatically.
Yeah, that saves a lot of time, actually.
Sure. So it's been great for our users, and probably one of the most popular tools, which I've got feedback on, which is great.
Lovely.
But again, it's one of the very basic ones. There's a lot of more kind of in-depth tools that can also be used. So I can run you through one more, or we can,
yes, please.
move on.
Yeah, show us.
One that I think is really interesting, particularly in today's day and age, was kind of your children's targets. And as a teacher, you're met with a whole variety of needs within your classroom. So I've put ASN, so like additional support needs that the child displays. So let's just say there is a child in your class who's maybe experiencing anxiety.
Leaving home in the morning.
Yeah, a problem that I've came across with my children as well. What are they struggling with coming to school? We want to put some sort of plan in place. So how many weeks should this plan last for? Because it's not going to be a quick fix. 4, and how many targets? We'll set 3 targets. So I've put some ideas into the background of this prompting, and out will come a kind of plan which will identify how that educator can support the child within their classroom in really detailed and prescriptive ways. So it'll just take a few minutes to create it, and there you have. It's going to help the children to build trust and comfort, encourage participation and engagement, increase independence and confidence, and kind of consolidating gains and planning for the future. And of course, anxiety is just one thing that our children are facing today. There's a variety of things that we are coming to terms with in schools and helping to support.
Definitely. It's such an important part of education is working on the anxiety that the kids face, leaving home, leaving the safe space, a safe environment you have at home, and then go to school. I have a question about, again, going back to the feedback. So let's say you got the lesson planning for the month, and you still have would like to brainstorm with the platform, with Teacherbot. Like, can you give your feedback and based on that feedback or new ideas, give a context, and then get a plan that is tailored to your exact needs?
Yes, absolutely. There's a variety of tools on the platform, and you would just give some more details in there. I think there's another tool in here. Additional support needs, and you would just put in the detailed need or that you're looking for, and there's a variety of prompting in the background that helps it to make it relevant for educators.
Cool. And I see as well, you can see the Scottish curriculum. So you have for that.
We've got a special, we've got a lot of Scottish teachers on board, and we've integrated the curriculum here to support them specifically. So if they want to deliver a particular strand of the curriculum, they can put that in. We've also been chatting to a variety of educators in different countries who would also like their curriculums kind of integrated to support their school. So we try to cater to the schools that use Teacherbot and integrate their curriculum so that it's accessible to all, which I know is very important to you and the work that you do as well, Moses. Exactly.
I was actually thinking about whether we could replace Scottish with anything else. Maybe I focus a lot on Africa and the Middle East, and they have such a young population. If we take Egypt, for example, I was there a couple of weeks ago, 60% of the population is under 30.
Wow.
And Africa is similar. Nigeria, for example, similar, Middle East. So you have different curriculums, and they are investing heavily in education.
Yep.
So my question is, I guess the answer is yes. But I hope
absolutely.
So. Can you replace Scottish with Egyptian, Saudi, Nigerian curriculum?
Yes, absolutely. I was on a call with a guy from Nigeria just last week, actually, and he was asking exactly that. And we looked at the Nigerian curriculum and very specific, actually, where he was from, how he could use that. So that's yes, great. Absolutely.
That's great news. And I can also see the quiz generator. That's a very smart way of learning and teaching by it's a
Absolutely.
fun way even. I like quizzes and
Children
kids do.
children love a quiz, don't they? So we all love a quiz, don't
Yeah,
we?
for inner child.
And yeah, it's a feature I actually often oversee and don't talk about. But yeah, it's a very simple quiz generator where you can choose a variety of quizzes, multiple choice, true or false, fill in the
Yeah,
blanks, sentence completion, that might just be a little early finisher for your children in your classroom or something to engage them at the start of the lesson.
that's amazing. And then you have the
But
parents
yeah,
as well, parent involvement plans.
yep,
Can you
parental
tell us about
involvement
this?
plans. Yeah, it's so important. I think I've particularly noticed this as a parent myself, and you yourself might understand that
Yeah, as parents.
in certain schools or nurseries, you feel like you can embed some of your own skills or you can offer your own advice. So, and often than not, schools and nurseries want to hear from parents. They want to know what you can bring to the nursery. They want to know what you want to see in the nursery. So yeah, our parental involvement plans basically just allows educators to seek advice from parents.
Yeah, exactly. It's a two-way street. Well, as a parent and a teacher yourself, I'm sure you understand the importance of communication between home and school.
Absolutely. And some of the skills that parents can bring to the classroom, to the school, is absolutely phenomenal. Everyone's got different time commitments at different points in their life.
Mm.
And sometimes if there's parents that have a little bit of extra time on their hands, they
Yeah,
can make real big differences to the schools that they're part of. I know I've experienced that anyway.
of course, of course. So what was the feedback or what are the feedback you're getting from the teachers, from the users of the platform? Can you give us
E- Excellent
stories?
feedback. So for example, we have our writing exemplar here, and I don't know if you can see the drop down when I open that
Yeah, I
up. Can you?
do.
Can you
Yeah,
see
we do.
options?
Yes, I do.
So I created this tool because this was something that took me a lot of time when I was teaching. So if I'm teaching children how to write an information report,
Oh yeah.
what I would do, I would create an exemplar so that at the start of the lesson I can put up an exemplar and I can highlight all the genre features that I'm using. So originally I had just made the writing exemplar,
Mhm.
but some feedback was like, could you highlight the features so that actually when you create this writing exemplar, the kids can see the features. So like
Yeah.
where's the introduction, where's the conclusion, what type of tone are you using? So yeah, from the feedback, I was like, sure, we can do that. And if you go through the writing exemplar, you'll see that it highlights the genre features for you. So it's just
Wow.
really taking users who are using it every day and tailoring it to their needs because
Mm.
it's not something that I think is useful. You have to listen to the users, don't you?
Of course, that's very important. And because at
Yeah,
the end of the day, you're doing it for them.
absolutely. Absolutely. So the user's feedback is probably the single most important thing that helps to me to grow and the company to grow is yeah, listening to the users and what they need.
But how do you make sure that Teacherbot, remains user friendly for especially for teachers who are not tech savvy? I know many teachers actually who are scared of tech or scared.
Yeah,
You don't want to touch a computer or a PowerPoint presentation, whatever. Like,
sure.
is Teacherbot user savvy for those who might be afraid, who might hear the word AI powered platform and get scared? What would you tell them?
I think it's actually a very beginner user friendly and a lot of you'd be surprised the amount of teachers that haven't used AI yet, um, particularly down to time commitment. I know as a teacher when new things are introduced or new things are suggested, they sometimes they just have to give it a back seat for a while and focus on the kids that are in their care. And then when they've got time to explore, then they can do it. But yeah, Teacherbot can be very user friendly. Let me have a little think. One of the
I like how clear the features are. Like it's not
yeah,
cluttered with tons of things. It's pretty much organized. So you have if you want to
yeah,
make a
I'd hope
sentence,
so.
quiz, and it's even the eyes. It's easy to see where,
Yeah.
you find your way around. It's very good.
I'm just bringing this one up as an example. So
Mhm.
this one here creates the prompt in the background for the teachers, and it's almost like helping the teachers to develop their prompt engineering on their own. So
Mhm.
here's the kind of email, and it's like, this is what I would put in to any platform, and I'm just helping the users to develop their own style
Yeah.
of prompting. So here they can say, I'm a class teacher, you need to write an email to parents about an information evening.
Wow.
What should it be shared in, and they can edit it as they wish. And it's not only giving them the resource, but it's teaching them about how to prompt and how to use AI, because I think it's important to both get things done quickly, but also to understand what's going on in the world and how to use it.
Definitely. And this would be an email up to a parent or to a colleague at school?
So this one particularly was an email to a parent, but you would just go in, edit out. I'm a class teacher, I need to write an email to a colleague or to my head teacher or to an outside organisation, to a speech and language therapist. And it just gives them kind of a start. And I always say to the users, use it as like, use 80%, but always put your like human touch on it. Always revise it, because you and I both know that sometimes AI can be unreliable. So
Yeah.
it's so important to keep that human touch and always edit it, always look back and put your teacher judgment on it, which is so important.
That actually leads us to a very interesting topic that I wanted to discuss with you, is the reliance on AI. Do we risk, or do teachers using Teacherbot risk getting mentally or intellectually lazy by using it? And if the answer is yes, how can we make sure we don't become lazy? And then this aspect of it as well is the fact that such a tool like Teacherbot can help us save lots of hours. Like, it would be interesting to know how many hours the teachers using Teacherbot have been able to save and dedicate to other things in their lives and in their students' lives as well.
Absolutely. So I think the first part of your question there was about using it and kind of becoming lazy. And I think we kind of touched upon this just in your question before. And I always use it as a brainstorming tool to get the kind of overall picture. I think as a teacher, and everything you do, use your teacher judgment in everything you do. And Teacherbot is also the same. I would suggest that you always put your teacher judgment on top of it. And I think that means that you won't become lazy in your thinking, because I know as a teacher growing up, I always like to dot my I's and cross my T's. And this comes as no difference. Like, you pull resources from websites, you pull worksheets from folders, like it's just moving with the time and using resources from a different platform, but continually using that teacher judgment. So I think that was the first part of your question. Kind of moving on from that, the next part, Kate, what did you
Was the
say
hours?
next?
Do you mind stopping sharing your screen for a sec?
Sure. Let me see. Stop share.
I'm just thinking about,
Absolutely.
because we're gonna cut this kind of small video, so it'd be good to see your face while you're talking as well.
Yeah,
Just to share it on social
absolutely.
media. Yeah, the second part of my question was the hours that teachers using Teacherbot will be able to save. The hours dedicated
Absolutely.
probably maybe to thinking about, to filling out planning lessons or writing reports. Any idea how
Absolutely.
many hours you guys have been able to save for the 15,000 teachers that are on the platform? Within,
Yeah, many hours have
in the
been saved.
thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably tens of thousands.
Absolutely. It's insane the amount of hours it takes for teachers to plan. In Scotland, we receive 2.5 hours per week to
Mhm.
plan our lessons. And that's like a small snippet of your planning time. Teachers are in school an hour and a half before, 2 hours before their lessons, working through their breaks, working through their lunch times. They stay on for 3 hours, possibly at the end of the day.
Wow.
Um, So Teacherbot can save one teacher, say 10 hours of planning time every week. And I think sometimes what people don't understand about teachers is, for example, one lesson in the week. If you're teaching children how to read, within that, you've got 4 reading levels. So you're preparing 4 sets of comprehension questions. There are 3 spelling groups. So you're creating 3 sets of activities. And when you multiply that across one day and then 1 week and one forward planning term, you can imagine how these hours mount up. So we have saved hundreds of thousands of hours for teachers.
That's really amazing. And
Yep.
even for their own well-being. I mean, the hours that they used to spend at home preparing for lessons. Now they can, dedicate them to maybe going to a spa or just to having a nap or, resting.
Yeah. Or making dinner for your family, or
Making them for
just
exactly spending time with your kids and with your family or boyfriend.
coming home and doing things with your kids, or just taking that hour that you might have in the evening after the kids are in bed or you've finished working to just wind down, which is so important. You can probably attest to that as well. Your well-being
Definitely.
is so important.
Exactly. Well, as a former teacher, what made you? Well, I'm curious. What made you quit teaching? And in your opinion, what are the major challenges that are facing teachers nowadays?
It's a great question. I'll always be a teacher. It's my vocation to teach. I love it. I love the kids. I love the challenges and the joys that they bring to you every day. So I'll always be a teacher, and I'll always keep my hand in at teaching, go back into the classroom, because I think that's what makes me me. The decision to take a jump out of teaching is because you only live once. You have to jump outside your comfort zone, don't you? I'd been teaching for 10 years. I just turned 30. And I thought, I've spent a decade of my life giving back to my community and to the children directly in front of me. I thought, what bigger impact could I have? I had a variety of time teaching in Africa, which we about before briefly, and there's just so much out there in this big world. I just wanted to explore it, and I thought Teacherbot was the best vehicle to do that with. But the biggest challenges, I think your question was, I went off on a bit there. Biggest challenges for teachers, planning and the workload. Also, just taking things home with you at night time. Like, your number one goal is to inspire and to keep these children safe. And sometimes you bring things home with you. But it's all for a good purpose. You want to give them the best education in life as you can. They become like your own children.
Yeah.
And looking back, it was a really special and unique opportunity I had to teach so many children. But I think teachers take the challenges with the wins and the joys. That's just what teachers do, don't they?
Yeah, of course. I'm always interested in founders' background because it tells you a lot about the future of a company, the present and the future of a company. You are a very well-traveled person, and our first talk was about all the places you've been to. Can you tell our audience, our listeners, where you've been? What have you been doing? You've lived in many countries, many continents. So I would like you to share that with our listeners. I already know a little bit,
Sure.
but I'd like you to share it because it's who you are, which is also is reflected into the work that you've been putting into Chatbot. So I think it's very important for the listeners and for the future subscribers to know about you, the founder.
Yeah.
Katie Hasselstrom.
That's you to say, Moses, coming from someone who speaks 5 different languages and has been very well traveled himself.
Yeah, it takes one to know one. So
absolutely. And I think I don't know what to kind of highlight, but I guess our shared connection was through Copenhagen, CBS.
Business school, yes.
Yeah, the business school, and I didn't study there myself, but my partner did, and that's where I met my husband in Denmark, and we lived there for a long time. And I taught in a variety of international schools, European schools. I did a lot of supply work, kind of dotting around different places, and also in nurseries there. And I learned huge amounts from Denmark as a place. I love Denmark and the way they do things. So learned a lot from the curriculums.
Is there a difference now that you're mentioning it? What would you say
Yeah,
the main difference between the Scandinavian mindset or teach educational system, the Scottish, and maybe other places where you've been to?
good question. Of course, there are a variety of similarities. Teachers, I would say, are pretty similar across the globe. They've got the same tasks at hand. Denmark was great for outdoor learning. They were out in all weathers. It didn't matter if it was
Yeah,
pouring down, but they had their
like
jackets on and they
Sweden.
were out. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that about there. Teaching in the international school was really interesting. Um, Lots of opportunities for the children, and I think the parents brought a lot to the schools because there was a lot of kids coming and going from that school, and the parents were probably from two different countries that weren't Denmark.
Mhm.
And like coming from two different countries and then kind of residing in Denmark for a short period of time brings a lot of interest. And it's just super multicultural, which I love. And actually, there was one of the schools I was in, there was a big display in the wall, and it was little houses, and the children were in the centre, and they had put a flag of where their mother or where
Mhm.
their parents were from. And just the variety of countries and cultures, I think, was a huge difference.
Of course.
But yeah, like I wouldn't say one was better than the other. Each have their unique cultural stances.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of a teaching experience in Denmark. And I know you lived in Denmark for a while yourself.
I went to I come from Malmö, from southern Sweden, which is a city that is 25 minutes from Copenhagen, and Malmö.
Okay.
I'm sure you've been there. I guess you've
Yep.
been there. If you've lived in Copenhagen, you must have taken the train over the channel and visited Sweden. Copenhagen, yes, I agree with you. It's very outdoorsy.
Mm.
Education, kids are always outside, and even in Sweden, we have this saying that there's no bad weather, there's only bad clothes. Bad
Yep.
clothing.
Yep.
So just so no matter what, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, it doesn't matter. We're still going outside, and this is something I install in my kids. You don't see it here in France. I'm based in France. You don't see it
Okay.
as much, and I guess Scotland's probably similar. So if it's raining too much, you tend to maybe sit
Potentially
indoors.
go indoors. Yeah.
Scandinavia, obviously, it's not the case, which is something very interesting. So there's a lot of focus on your connection, on the kids' connection to nature. It's very important. So we talk about nature.
Yes.
We're always outside in direct touch with nature. It's very good. I really love it. So you lived in Copenhagen, lived in Denmark, but you also lived you taught in Africa, in Australia, I believe. You've been to Australia.
Yes.
Tell us,
So,
yeah, you've been.
I'll
Is there a continent where you haven't been to yet?
oh, Antarctica.
Exactly.
But yeah, South Africa, what brought me to there was at uni, we had a partnership with a school situated in Venda, so it's bordered Zimbabwe and Mozambique. And I was involved with a program with them for about 2 years. And it was like a teacher exchange. We learned a huge amount from how they did things there, and yeah, how we did things there. And we traveled to their country, they traveled to ours. Um, and that was so interesting. And I just absolutely loved my time there. Spent some time in a variety of schools there. We also worked for a company called Love Life.
Love life. Okay,
Love
interesting.
Life, and Love Life explored HIV and AIDS and the how it's perceived. And we did workshops with children who had it themselves, and we we explored it through drama. So we did a variety of drama workshops that helped them to understand what was going on, and yeah, just how to live with it and how to love life, basically. So
Wow.
that was really important and impactful. And yeah, really, I loved that. And I met so many amazing people when we were there, and we learned a lot from them. And it's base that's where a lot of my values are based, and the way I teach. It's a lot of what I've learned from my experience of being involved in that 2 year project.
Yeah, you've been over the place. What's in your opinion, what's the future of teaching now with the arrival of AI? Are we, AI is currently impacting other fields, other sectors, not teaching, but
Yep.
everywhere. A lot of people, they are starting to be laid off because of AI. So AI, a lot of people are saying AI is replacing humans. Although I have a hard time imagining school laying off its teachers because of AI. I believe, I have a feeling this is going to be one of the last sectors, industries impacted by AI, because teachers' presence is important, not only in the sense, as you mentioned before, and because they need to teach a certain knowledge, but it's the human connection is being a
Yep.
guide. I would like to know if you've about this. Is AI gonna change anything? And if so, how is it going to change the teaching experience and the learning experience at the same time?
I think it'll change it massively. And I mean, we're already so many years in, and there's things that haven't changed. But teaching has evolved so much. Even when I started to teach, and that's only 10 years, somebody coming with kind of 50 years experience would see bigger change. But even from when I was teaching, like moving away from worksheets, moving away from textbooks, moving towards active learning is huge. But bringing AI in, I think, yeah, it'll change a lot. We have to develop our learners to develop their digital literacy, to move with the times, and to prepare them for jobs we aren't even aware of yet. So I think it's going to change massively, but I don't think teachers will ever be replaced. I think a lot of children need a human champion that is going to push them, help them to dream, and support them. Teachers will never be replaced. You can quote me on that, but AI
Gonna stay there
will.
forever. Well, your grant will be able to see to testify whether
Yeah.
we were right or not. You're right. Maybe the roles.
What do you think?
No, I think the role might change in the sense that years ago, the teachers, obviously there are things that will never change. The inspiration, as you said, teacher there is there to inspire and maybe to make kids love, develop their love for learning.
Yep.
You cannot teach kids as parents. I think I'm as a father, and you as a mother as well. I'm sure, at home we are teachers as well. We teach them, but sometimes you teach you lead by example. You're there to just point your finger to guide, to tell them, hey, look at this, might be interesting, might
Yep.
interest you. And then it's up to them to choose whether to pursue knowledge in a certain area. So maybe that's the future. I've seen Khan Academy. I don't know if you've heard
Yes.
about it.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
have the massively adapted AI. They have Khan Amigo, and you can have an
Absolutely. It's
AI
amazing.
teacher. It's amazing, and it's very interesting. So maybe eventually kids will have their knowledge sources from AI, but then they need a teacher to guide them to maybe to get a human touch, because at the end of the day we're humans, so we need to interact with other humans. But it's
Absolutely.
still another opinion I heard about teaching is that we still need babysitters. I know it sounds, maybe it's a bit crazy or condescending, could sound as that. At the end of the day, I wouldn't trust my kids with a robot. Say
Yeah.
50 years from now, I would have a hard time imagining a parent sending their kids to a school where teachers are robots.
Yeah. I know. And I
While you're
think
working, right? You need somebody to take care of your kids. So,
absolutely. And when we're talking about the kind of AI teacher, it might work the opposite way. It might be that it's maybe the kids that can't cope, which we spoke about different earlier before the
yeah,
call. Kids that can't cope in the education system, and they have to. I spoke to a father recently. His child worked better at home, and for that reason,
I used to be
the
like
AI,
this. Yeah,
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 the teacher worked. He said, I couldn't have done without it, and he had used an AI teacher at home that taught the lessons that were going on in school. And for that particular child, that worked.
exactly.
And you say you didn't like the school environment?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I actually I thought I learned better on my own. I'm very social, but when it came to learning, I wanted at home. I wanted to be able to sit, and whenever I didn't understand something, go back to it, or maybe, focus more on a certain point that interested me than on other things. Because I have a feeling that, one size fits all is not really optimal way to go. So you go
No,
to
absolutely
school
not.
and you have a curriculum to follow, but maybe not every kid is interested in what you're going to talk about today, or, so I think we need to keep that in mind. And that's why maybe having a customized or a tailored program is tailored to each interest and each kid is the future. And this is something that can work on with using AI as well, so.
Moses, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think that's exactly it. And I couldn't have put it better myself.
Yeah, and
It's about,
Teacherbot's doing that, I guess. It will help teachers do that. Whether teachers or even parents, I guess parents could be using Teacherbot as well, can they?
yeah, absolutely. It's so important for parents to have a look at it as well and see how it can benefit their children. Of course, I used the kind of feature that my little girl was struggling to go into nursery. And as a parent, you freak out and you think, oh, there must be something wrong. But actually, it's a phase. You have to give it time. And yeah, I went on and got a few suggestions, tried them out, and yeah, it helped.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
I think
awesome.
what you said there was so important.
Thank you. So let's go quickly to Teacherbot. How do you think it differentiate itself from other education planning tools on the market? What are the strong sides of it?
I think the community that we've built with Teacherbot is so unique. It's their teachers. It's created by teachers, and the feedback from the users is just trying to help to shape life in this particular schools that we are partnered with. I think what we offer is a real customizable experience. Also, when I was speaking to the guy I was speaking to the other week, he was like, it doesn't feel comfortable to our culture.
Mm.
Like our teachers would prefer it to look a little bit more like this. And that's so true. It's like someone who's teaching in Africa might not have the same idea of someone who's teaching in France.
Exactly.
And what Teacherbot can do is customize it to fit their feel and their culture and their curriculum. So I think that's what I pride Teacherbot on, is making it malleable to fit culture and the experience and the curriculum of our users.
Definitely. Can you walk us through the model and the accessibility? How can the teachers access? And if you want to join Teacherbot, how does it work?
Absolutely. So we've got a freemium model where you can for free, and you can create maybe up to 5 lesson plans every month and keep returning. You can then access some more, and you can pay a £5 or a £10 subscription fee, which is a small amount, or you can sign up as a school. And a lot of schools are taking on this approach so that they can offer it out to all their staff.
Oh, really?
And
Can you give more details about this? Say you're a school and you have is there a minimum or maximum number of teachers per school to get a subscription? How does it work?
So a school, and yeah, it depends on where you are and how many teachers you have in your school. So we make a quote to where you live and
Mhm.
also how many teachers you have, because we're a huge population and kind of monetary value is completely different in different places.
Of course.
So we scale it to whoever's asking us to. And yeah, teachers subscribe on a school basis. We set up the users, we make it a nice, comfortable experience to onboard those users,
Yeah.
and those users have unlimited access to our platform. And of course, there's ongoing support and advice, and yeah, we're always here
So
to
customer
help.
service which is very important. So you're listening to the when they need something, they reach out to you, to send an email or message a platform, and you get back to them.
Absolutely, because I think I pride myself as well in saying that I'm not an expert. I don't know all. AI is evolving every day, and new features are coming out, and we want to make the platform the best experience for our users using a variety of things in the background to power it.
Of course. So if I'm at school, I just need to reach out to you, and then I tell you my needs, how many teachers we have, and then you get back to us with a with an
Yep.
like with the problem and everything. Very good. What's your future? What are your future plans and dreams for Teacherbot, or in your work in general with teachers? Who do you like to see, and what are you working on? What are the future vision?
When I created Teacherbot, I said I want to help teachers make it home in time for tea with their families. Make it home in time for tea. And alongside, I want the education sphere to embrace change, move with the advancements, and yeah, be ahead of the curve. Education is so important. It's going to create the young minds of the future. And I think alongside AI and Teacherbot, we can help to do that.
That's beautifully said. Is there anything else you would like our listeners to know about Teacherbot, or anything that I should have asked you, but I forgot to ask?
I think we covered it all, Moses. I think this was a great experience to talk out loud about Teacherbot, and yeah, also connect with you, which I think is really important and valuable, because I think your work is great, what you're doing. So I just want to say thanks for today. And yeah, if you want to come and try out Teacherbot, please do.
Yeah, I would love to. And thank you so much for your time. Where can our listeners find more information about Teacherbot, about you, or get in touch with you directly?
Yeah, I'm Katie Hasselstrom. Follow me on LinkedIn. Send me a message. I always respond to my messages wherever I can, and or hello@teacherbot.io, and I'll be happy to get your school on board and help you embrace AI in your school.
Thank you so much, and we look forward to part 2, maybe in the near future,
Absolutely, I'm
and see
intrigued.
how Teacherbot is doing and how you're doing with all the great work that you're doing in the world. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks,
Thank you,
Moses.
Katie. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one. Bye.